Have you noticed this in your life? The loudest person in the room is almost always considered the most confident one. Their words get listened to, their opinions get acknowledged more than someone who barely speaks. Society wired us that way. Silence means weakness, silence means insecurity, silence means you don't know enough. First come, first serve. Speak up or get left behind. But here is what I have observed. Highly emotionally intelligent people are often the quietest in the room, especially during high stress situations, escalations, major issues, heated arguments. They don't fight back, they don't disagree loudly, they just stay quiet. And that silence, it's not empty, it's not absence of thought. They are observing everything. They are deliberately choosing to stay quiet. Not because they are weak, because they know exactly what they are doing. That's what we are going to talk about today. I'm Dinesh Kumar, software engineer, author, and podcaster, exploring psychology, technology, and how we make sense of modern life. This is the DK Talks. Society assumes quiet people are shy, disinterested, or just don't have anything useful to say. And honestly, in some cases, that might be true. But some of the quietest people in a room are the most aware of what's going on in it. They are not missing the conversation, they are catching the things that everyone else is skipping over. Emotionally intelligent people use silence as an emotional buffer zone. They read the room, they watch the tone, they pick up the body language. They notice the small shift in someone's face when a topic makes them uncomfortable. You won't see any of this from the outside because they look completely calm. But inside, they are processing a lot. They think before they speak, and sometimes they decide not worth it. Better to preserve energy than get into a debate that leads nowhere. But we live in a culture that rewards volume. Who speaks first? Who speaks loudest? Who fills the most space? So the person who stays quiet gets filed as the person who has nothing to add. That happens at work, happens in friendships, happens in families. The loudest opinion gets treated like conviction. The quiet observation gets ignored. And after enough of that, the quiet person stops expecting anything different, which only makes the silence deeper. Here is something most people don't get. Most people don't actually listen in conversations, they just wait for their turn to speak. We are all looking for an opening to prove how smart we are. That's how we are conditioned. I need to be heard, I need to sound competent. And look, there is nothing wrong with that, as long as it doesn't turn into ego. But people with high emotional intelligence, they can suspend their ego. They just sit there, observation mode. They are not looking for validation by dominating the room. They are watching something else entirely. Who's getting defensive, who's putting on a show, who actually means what they are saying versus who's just holding a position because backing down would feel like losing face. And they are running a quiet calculation. If I say what I think right now, does it actually help? Does it move anything forward, or does it just add noise to a room that's already drowning in it? Most of the time, the answer is it won't change anything. The conversation stopped being a conversation a while ago. It turned into performance or a venting session or two people talking past each other while everyone watches. So they hold back, not because they are scared, because they have seen enough conversations go wrong to know that timing matters more than being right. You can say the perfect thing at the wrong moment and it does more damage than staying silent. And here is the thing, when they finally do speak, it usually carries more weight than everything that was said before. Because they observe the room, they already know the other person's motive, insecurities, and what they actually need. They bring clarity without offending anyone in the process. They know when to speak, and more importantly, they know when to let it go. There is something else people miss about this. Emotionally intelligent people understand something that most people don't. Most arguments are not really about the topic, they are about emotion. Someone is not yelling because they thought deeply about the issue. They are yelling because something hit a now. Their identity feels threatened. They need to win more than they need to be right. When you can see that clearly, engaging feels almost pointless. You can't logic someone out of a position they didn't logic themselves into. You can't fix a misunderstanding when the other person is not confused, they are activated. Think about this. Every argument needs provocation to survive. Two people yelling at each other keep going because one keeps provoking the other. But the moment one person goes silent, truly silent, the other person is forced to sit with the echo of their own noise. There is nothing to react to anymore, and slowly they start coming back to their senses. The yelling turns into talking, the argument turns into a discussion. Emotionally intelligent people figured this out a long time ago. Sometimes the most powerful boundary you can set is simply refusing to engage. It looks like weakness from the outside, but it's not. It's control. Now, here is the honest part. This works. It protects you, it keeps relationships intact, it avoids unnecessary conflict, it saves a lot of energy. Most of the time, it's the smarter move. But it does cost you something. When you keep choosing silence, people build an incomplete picture of who you are. They see someone agreeable, someone easy, someone who probably doesn't have strong opinions about anything. And every time you hold back, that picture gets more solid. At work, you get overlooked. You read the room better than anyone, but the person who speaks up with a worse idea gets the credit. In relationships, people assume your silence means you agree. And when they eventually find out you didn't, they feel blindsided, like you are hiding something. That's the trade off. You get peace, you avoid friction, but you lose visibility. And sometimes you lose the chance to be fully understood by the people closest to you. The confident person fills the room, the emotionally intelligent person reads it. From the outside, those look completely different, but the second one takes more effort than most people will ever realize. Choosing to stay quiet when you could easily speak up, that's not passivity, that's a deliberate choice. Prioritizing understanding over being understood. Choosing the long term relationship over the short term point. And no, this doesn't make quiet people better than outspoken people. These are just different ways of operating, different costs, different rewards. But if you are someone who stays quiet, not because you have nothing to say, but because you have already seen where the conversation is heading, then you know this feeling well. That silence was never empty and it was never weakness, it was awareness. The kind that most rooms are not built to recognize. Take care, I will see you in the next one.